Hello everyone. So in this video, it's not going to be a video of me building my logo, which you see right here in front of me. This is my logo that I built in the game. Unless there are people who want this and they want me to show exactly how I did it, I can, obviously make a video on that. But it's going to be more about the minimalistic base that's in the top up there. You see the little hammers. I have not completed it because, well, eventually it's going to get moved. I'm actually going to eventually tear this thing down and move it closer to the barbecue pit. But I'm just going to go in there real quick just to kind of show what I mean by minimalistic. So you see there's nothing down here in the bottom area. And it's kind of a little pain to get up here. Probably would have done better with bounce webs. Just saying. But it's 2 sections wide, and from the top of the stairs to the top of the stairs at the other end is 11 floor sections long. I do have a few little pieces hanging over the edge here. At both ends. I've got a mushroom. I literally have everything in a base you would need in here. Mushrooms, workstation, place for boxes, the bed, box for your whatever, just random junk box, pallet storage above, armor dummy for every one of my bases has ant armor, so that's what this is for whenever I decide to build it. Smoothie station, a few spinners, a couple of jerky racks, and some water, some dew collectors, which would actually work in here even though it is completely enclosed, as well as water tanks. Now, like I said, I'm not going to show you the build of my logo. That's not what this is about. This is a minimalistic base. Say you have a main base on one part of the yard and you want to put another smaller base on the other side of the yard. I'm just going to do a quick little build on 2 different styles. The long running style like that, and one that's half the length but double the width. So I'm going to pause real quick, hop over to creative, and I'll probably wind up building it somewhere down there on those rocks just to have kind of a flat area to work on. So give me just a second, I'll be right back. Alright, so now that I've tested a few things, I laid out the floor for 2 different designs. The long skinny design, which is 2 wide by 15 long, because if you remember the top of my logo, the top of the stairs to each end was 11, but there was 2 extra pieces sticking off each end, which made it 15 long. So this is going to be literally more like a longhouse, just a straight shot straight through. There will be no roof pieces because the roof will then take away from the ability to stack certain things certain ways. So this is like if you're building over by the hedge and you just don't feel like bringing a whole bunch of weed stems over there because, well, they're not in that area. But there's a lot of grass. So we're going to try not to build way up there. And as you can see, I do have the next little building already laid out right next to this. And it's going to be 7 long, but 4 wide instead of 2. So a little less than half, because obviously, that's how that works. And then we're just going to wrap around. I'm just going to continue doing this building all the way. And I'm just using grass planks here because a minimalistic build is kind of what we're going for. I'm not going for the big fancy stuff or any of the more elaborate builds I have done in some of my other videos. I'm just trying to go with, if you need to do a quick little building that will house pretty much your entire base and have it laid out pretty well. It might be a little cluttered. I've had one of my mods from Twitch tell me that the layout in the top of my logo is very cluttered. Everything's there, but it's cluttered. And she's right. That's okay. Because it can be cluttered. If it's organized, it still doesn't look too bad. Now, like I said, this is a very crude building. You can obviously that's not how I want that. So I have to get up there and get that down. You see it's almost all grass. The entire building structure would be grass. They're just stairs here just so I can anchor it up a little bit so I don't have the rock going through the floor. But it's literally just a straight shot. They're actually, you don't have to put doors. You can. You don't even have to put like walls here to denoting what side is which. It's just up to you. So if we go and think about how I have that top of my logo set up at one end, let me get to it. I'm gonna go to this. We'll go right here. It starts with a mushroom garden at the end. And then next to that, turn sideways, is, where is it? Oh, I just saw it. Is a workbench. The workbench can still be accessed from the side. You don't have to be able to face the front of it. You can still access it from the side. Now, after that is the weed stem. I'm sorry, the shelves. The shelves. Now you don't have. You can use whichever walls you want. You can, if you want to use the weed stem walls, so you don't mind, trucking them over here to make it look a little bit better. If you're like me, I don't like the way the grass, an all grass building looks, but that's personal preference. I don't mind putting in the extra footwork to get the stuff over there. So now I'm setting up the spot for the boxes. Let me go ahead and get that other end wall on it. If I can find the wall, there it is. And then one thing I've noticed is do your bottom floor boxes before you put in the shelf, because once you put that shelf in above it, it becomes almost impossible to get the blueprint to go underneath. I learned that when I was doing my pagoda. I'm pretty sure I should have known that prior to. It might have been a change. I don't know. I never had an issue with it before. But so that's going to be your shelf setup. And the crenellations at the top are actually kind of useful because it will keep you from going too far off the edge. Now, obviously, you don't need to do this many boxes if it's just a small outpost. But if you're just trying to do a base and have a base kind of somewhere in a different part of the yard, and you can just do as many boxes as you like, or none at all. But you get the idea of this is a setup for where the boxes would go. I'm not going to do any more than that, but you get the idea. Load up the boxes right through here. You got your mushroom guard when you come up. And this is basically an exact layout of how I have the top of that logo set up. And then if you don't want to do a bed because of the price, put a lean-to right there. A lean-to will work too, just as long as it's somewhere to sleep. Because a lean-to turn sideways takes up, as you see, almost the same distance left to right as a bed. And then this is a personal preference of mine, is that I have, like, if I come to a base and I'm wearing armor and I need to change it out with whatever is at this base, I dump it in this box instead of one of those. These are the storage boxes. This is my personal use box, or my junk box as I call it. After that, you're going to have a armor dummy, because I keep ant armor in every base. It's just what I do. And then to make smoothies in case you need to heal. And then we're going to go some spinning webs, because, silk rope is always kind of nice. And it's useful in a lot of different things. As well as you can use just to make just regular crude rope. I'll put one more and try to stop it right there at that edge. So you see I kind of stopped it at the floor. I've got, what, 6 right there? Now above that, which is where I had those pallet storages at, and that's one of the reasons why there's no roof pieces in here, is because if I had roof pieces, I wouldn't be able to put the weed stem pallets up there, just because they would hit the roof on the the angled roof coming in, and they would not actually take. Now, if you're having issues getting this to line up just right, a suggestion: maybe do these shelves first, but don't complete them. Then you can just jump up here, and then you can get that to go right where you want it. 2 or 3 of these. Obviously, if you're in an area that has a lot of grass, you may not want any more than that. You might only want 2. You might not want any. It's up to you. But I would run this shelf all the way down. And then it doesn't even matter if you put anything on it, or you don't have to run it all the way down if you want. You can just go as far as you need. After you get your grass in, if you do plan on maybe making a zip line and bringing in weed stems, put a little bit of a storage setup up here. I'm just going to do 4 for now. And there's still, obviously you see there's more space. So there's still space going up if I need it. Now, for food prep, because if you're in an area where you might be there for a while, you're going to need to maybe make some beef jerky, or weevil jerky, or aphid jerky, which when you wake up, you eat one of those, drink 2 dew drops off of your dew collector, and you're good to go. And up here on this top area, surprisingly, the weight will actually take, you could put this up here. It is a possibility. You might even be able to put one of those up there. Let's see. let's play around with that for a second. So if you brought that to the very front edge, you could put these up high and save yourself some space too. I'm trying to get it to line up right on the edge. I can't really see the edge, so that's a little bit of a problem. But I can always jump up here because your character can make that one section jump. Oh, there it is. So the blueprint's being a little weird because it's wanting to go on the roof. But if you can get that blueprint to lay right there, you can then just rotate that and maybe... It's being difficult because of the roof. If I were to delete the roof, or maybe do the roof like last. And then, I don't know why the entire roof deleted, but okay. And see, you can still actually reach, you can put stuff on them. I don't know if you can get anything off of them. So, this may not be the best idea. You know, I don't always have the greatest ideas, but that's okay. So, you can do 3. That's all you really need, I guess. And then at the end of that, because I'm always worried about, you know, the dew collectors not working again. Throw in some water collectors on this side. So now we've got mushrooms for food, workbench to build stuff, storage boxes. Let me replace that piece of floor that I took down with a nice little storage system. Your bed with your personal box if you want that. An armor dummy for like ant armor or whatever, so you can leave that at this base. The smoothie machine. You see it is all very packed, very tightly together, and that's why it kind of does look cluttered. You have your pallet storage up high, so you can still stack stuff up here and get stuff off of it too, because you can still reach this with no problem to get everything off of it. A couple of jerky racks, some water containers, and extra space. There is still space up here for other things that you may or may not want to put up here. That is all up to you. Now on this side is where we have a couple of water collectors, and these have to be placed right up against that wall. So the closer to the wall you can get them, the better. I think 3 should be enough, because you can still easily move right through here. And if you wanted, you could, you know, grab 4 more pieces of grass and close that in. You could even put a door right here if you wanted. Most of my bases, I've stopped using doors. Some of them still have a door, some don't. So let me delete that. I'm going to move it over just a little bit, just so it's actually inside. And there is a very simple, very crude, but very simple base. It has actually a cool looking top to it now with the crenellations wrapping all the way around. It does give it a nice little effect. But you see it's made completely out of grass. So if you're in an area where weed stems are very, very rare, you know, you may not build this. You may not build this. I definitely recommend getting these built though. Get the weed stems there for some water. But you know, if you don't want to build a bed, you don't have to. You can easily just throw in a lean-to. And that way, because all you're really doing is walking up, hitting E and hitting W. So it's cheaper. It's easier to build. And then, you know, however many boxes. If you don't want to do, what is this, up to 30? If you fit them in there just right. And like I said, you can still continue the shelf across here for even more space. And with them adding more and more stuff to the game, that's always a thing to look at. Or you could put, instead of having boxes down here, your boxes you just go right across this first 5 or 6 sections, and this could be used for something else. But this is all you really need for a base. I know I say that when I have some very extravagant big bases built, but that's just how I personally want my bases to look, and that's just a personal preference. So you could easily fit an entire base into a building. Really, you know, it's a long building, but it's a skinny building, and it's a minimalistic base. Now, the next base is actually going to be inspired off of one of my mods bases that he is working on. He has almost a warehouse feel to his base, and that would be Rambo Robbie. and he is one of my mods. I jumped into his world during my Grounded with Viewers stream and was helping him out unlocking his pawn stuff. So we're gonna same thing, leave the stairs unblocked, wrap it around with walls. And once again, leave the stairs unblocked. There's 2 sets of stairs in the center right there. Now, this one I will also not use the roof pieces, just because of how they affect where I have to place certain things. But this is a little bit more of a square building, so it may be more your style if you want more of a square versus that long rectangle. Kind of looks like a container off of one of those big cargo ships. Or the back end of an 18-wheeler. Now, and I'm also going to hurry up and I'll do the roof first. But see, that becomes a problem when it does that. So, another thing you could do too is if it's nearby, like you could maybe get one of these to take. And then you have access to your roof as well. So bounce webs would then give you access to this nice big roof area, and you could use that for, you know, whatever you wanted. And this base is actually a little bit smaller than the first one I just finished, because the first one was 2 by 15. Which is 30 floor pieces. This one is 4 by 7, so it's only 28. So it's a little bit smaller. But you see, you still have this nice big roof area that you can use. If you want to put your water collectors up here, you can. But I'm going to have everything inside just for the fact that I want everything to fit into this little bitty building. This building isn't very big. I mean, you look at some of my bases I have built in my world, and they are way bigger than this. Way bigger. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a center wall, and this is where I get the inspiration from Rambo Robbie, because he has the same kind of center wall, and it's going to divide the base, and I'm going to have stuff running down each side. I like to use the bed. That's just me, personal. Obviously, like I said, the lean-to fits in the exact same spot. Close enough. My own personal box. The armor dummy for ant armor, because every base I like to have ant armor near it, so in case I need to build, I can just grab the ant armor and I'm good to go. Now, once again, we are going to build a shelf above. I don't know where that went. I definitely don't want that. I think one piece of floor went outside just now. Let's take a look. Yes, it did. Let's go back in. So, now with this kind of center area open, I wouldn't put too much through here, but I would definitely look at maybe doing, where is it? I always like to have at least one of these in the base, just because you never know if you need food, and there's always that chance of you maybe need it for smoothies with these things. I'm only going to do one because, like I said, it's doing very minimal. Still like to have pallet storage just in case. I always like to be prepared. If you've seen any of my base tour videos, you see my bases are well laid out, well prepared for who knows what. Let's do the 5. And now, one thing I forgot in the other base, and I will have to go back in this video and do that, is lights. Let me through. So obviously you're going to want to maybe put up a few lights just so you can kind of see up here. I mean, I wouldn't worry about it too much just because you're not really going up there that often. You know, that's just your pallet storage above your head. It's up out of the way. I would definitely throw in a few lights, maybe, you know, down here. Why not? Maybe put a light right here by the that thing. Now over here as well, you can do maybe some spinning wheels. Depending on what part of the yard you're in, you know, that depends on how many you would need or for how much your supply is of, say, if you're trying to make crude rope or silk rope. If you're by the hedge lab, I would suggest quite a few, just because you can get a lot out of the web fiber from the hedge base, the hedge lab itself. I had to think for a second, my bad. Now on this side, since we kind of divided it in half, this taller section in the center being the skinny section is actually where I'm going to put, oops, I'm going to put the water here up against this wall as close as I can. Now I think I can only fit 2, and that's fine. Right in the middle is where I would put 1 water tank, at least 1 water tank per base. Just for sometimes the game stops making water. Now on one end is where I would put these guys. Bombardier legs, what is it? Jerky racks. I think for a second. My bad. Now I would probably maybe throw, every time you put up a jerky rack, put a light behind it. Just so you can kind of see what you're doing in here. Obviously you don't want to be running into a base that's super dark and you're struggling to see. Not that you're going to run anything and hurt yourself, because that's not how this game works. As is evidenced by the zipline towers, as we go sliding into them face first and bounce off with no problem. And depending on where you're at, 2, maybe 3. I can't back up because of what's behind me. That thing. And that's as far as I would go with that, just because we still got to fit the boxes in here. Now you can put lights directly on the jerky racks, but then they'll be out in the way. I'd rather have them behind there like that. Now, if you looked at that without realizing it, I actually stopped perfect for where I want this wall to go. Now the jerky rack is in the way, so I would probably make sure I laid out that blueprint first. So put this wall up, because this is where our boxes are going to go. Boxes would attach right there. Now we'll remove that light just because I know that the boxes would be right up against it. But you see, I did the second shelf and now I'm struggling to get the blueprint to go underneath it. Remove the shelf above and the blueprints go no problem, as you can see. Obviously this is not going to be the best place, the best kind of setup. That's all I'm going to do for that shelf, by the way. Not going to be the best kind of setup if you have a lot of ants in the area, because they will come in and steal your food out of the boxes. But if you can elevate it a little bit, you know, to where the ants can't get up in here, you know, you'll be fine. Oh, now it's giving me trouble doing that one because of the shelf above. Oh. Now I just want to do this one for the light. And then, so basically do a shelf, put the boxes. Do a shelf, put the boxes. Do a shelf, put the boxes. That way, and I mean like a shelf all the way across, not just one square of floor. Like right now I'm on the top shelf, which is 3 sections of floor across. And you would do this all the way over here to this crenellation. And this would be all boxes. And so the reason I did that, I wanted to see exactly where I could set this light. You can actually put the light right there on the edge of the wall, or you can put the light directly on the box. It's up to you. And like I said, that would be just a bunch more boxes. And this way I am apparently stuck. I don't know how. So I'm going to delete this behind me, because apparently I stepped into it and got stuck. That's new. But as you can see, it's a small base. There's still the whole roof to use if you wanted. If you don't, you don't have to. There's still a little bit more space right here for whatever. Let's see. I don't have one of these in the base yet, so I could always put, you know, a little cooking pit. And it would probably make sense to put that closer to what I'm going to be using it with, which is the mushrooms to make healing smoothies, the smoothie question marks. And on this wall, you can then, you know, if you want to put up a couple weapon racks, you know, just to, not really for display, but for storage for your weapons. You could even put armor dummies along here for more armor storage, or just stick them in a box, either one. But you see, they don't take up much space sticking off the wall. So you've got lots of space here to put all of your stuff. You don't have to build the big elaborate bases to get everything situated. You can literally just build it, you know, a little simple base. And it still will come out looking pretty good. And with the lights above, it actually lights up this bottom area quite well, but I'm still going to stick one light right here between these two. And now I have, because you see it's starting to get late, so it's starting to get dark, which makes the light stand out a little bit more. Now that I would probably delete, because I'm not actually going to put in the other. I'm only going to leave it to just 2 of those. And I might actually just put that right there. And now it's hidden out of the way. I don't run into it because it's over here. It's not, you know, blocking my path. I can still easily get to it to put water in it. I still have enough dew collectors. If I'm playing solo, 2 of these is enough. 2 of these is enough, depending on how much you're running around smacking stuff on the head. So let's go do the lights over here, because I did definitely forget to do lights in this side. And this way you can kind of see that I might not be able to get the lights on that wall back there, and that could bother me a bit, which is why I deleted that. And even with this base being so skinny, you really only need to put lights on one side. You don't even have to do lights on both sides. Because of how skinny this base is, those lights will be just bright enough to over here. Or if you wanted, you could always, you know, minimize how much light you put. Just because you're not trying to, you know, light up the whole yard. Always a good idea to put a light near the sleeping area. Oops, wrong light. I also do like to put lights right by the doorway, just so that as you're running up, it's kind of lit up that that's the doorway, that's where you enter. And like I said, for this one, you can stick it right on the edge of the wall, or even if you wanted, on the shelf itself. So I'm actually going to delete that one. And that's another very small, I mean, they're not super small, but they are a base that contains everything. Now, like I said, if you want to go smaller, you easily can. You can cut off the end of this, put that thing in a different location altogether. When I say that, you're like, you could cut off this first 2 sections and just have the boxes above and squish all that stuff down this way. And maybe do less up here. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to sleep. I'm going to get stuck in another dew collector. And I'm going to do one more quick build in this video. And it's going to be even smaller than this. It's going to be another skinny base like this, so it's going to be a lot smaller than this one. So I'm going to go ahead and sleep, and then I'm going to pause while I set up the flooring, and then I'll be right back. Alright, so we're back. I had to play test with the new build a little bit. So we have the 7x4, which is this base. Got everything nicely spaced out. You know, it's still compact, but it's not, you know, massive. Then we have this, the 15x2, which is got so much unused space up here, it made me think I can go a lot smaller than this. That's what I'm about to do. Over here is a 2x8. 2 sections wide by 8 sections long. And that's, I'm going to fit everything into this base, into this little building. That would be what a base is for me. It's going to still be a square. You know, there's not going to be any fancy roofs or anything. So don't have to worry about weed stems too much. I think the only things that's weed stems in here is the one mushroom garden, just because mushrooms, like I said, are used, for me at least, are used for I'll think of it. Healing smoothies. Excuse me. So it's literally just a little 2x8, and that's it. Little, little rectangle. A lot smaller than the first one I did. So this is more of an outpost size, I think, than the other two. The other two are still kind of big. Okay, so we're going to just continue doing that, are we? Okay. So, as always, if you're doing your roof, your UB land blueprint, one of this issue that I'm having right now where I have to get up there to delete that one. But at the same time, you still have this roof up here that you can use bounce webs to get up to. Because bounce webs, they take you up vertically. You don't have to worry about, stairs and that kind of stuff, bringing that across. And the materials for bounce webs can go in your inventory, not on your shoulder. So you still have the roof to work with, but I'm not going to. I'm going to make everything fit into this little 2x8 building. Very small, but works quite well. So once we get this all set up, this is where we're going to do a shelf all the way across. I'm going to get on the shelf because the first 4 sections of floor at this end is where I'm going to put the boxes. All the boxes are going to be up high, but all you got to do is look up and you'll be able to access them easily to get your stuff out. I think if I space them pretty close together, you see it's letting me put them like almost on top of each other. I can fit 15 up here. Yeah, they're not right on the edge, but that's okay. One, two, three. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh crap! I lost count. 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So yeah, we're gonna go all the way to the edge of right here. 12, 13, 14, and 15. That's without going past the halfway point in the house. So you see I've got 15 boxes, all, they're like right on top of each other. I don't know if the real game will let you put them that close. You may have to drop down to just 14, but it is still a possibility. Now we're going to put in 1 mushroom garden because, as I've said several times in this video, it's always good to have that reliable food source and a base. It's actually going through the wall, but that's fine. And right up next to it is the workbench. The workbench can be faced either way, it doesn't really matter. So you can face it this way, put it as close as the game will let you. I mean, that's letting me put it literally inside the edge. And then up against this wall is where I'm going to put 5 spinners. Now, if you're not making that much rope, you don't need these many spinners. If you're making a good bit of rope, you might want more spinners. Maybe that's what your roof is for. Alright. Now I'm going to go put the lean-to down at this end because I'm going to put a lean-to, I'm going to turn it sideways and squeeze it in up against this wall as close as I can. Right in front of it is where I'm going to put the armor dummy for my ant armor. I've got the space for it. Next to these is where we put 2 jerky racks, just 2. Don't need any more than that. It would help if they were at least somewhat in a reasonable spot. The shelf above is messing with it. And then that spot right there, like I said, just because of we had a water shortage a while back, that's actually not turned straight at all. So obviously you'd be laying out your blueprint, you'd be, maybe looking at where that handle is. I'll keep the handle turned sideways. I don't know if it actually bumps your character or not, but turning it this way keeps it out of the way. And then up top, if I can get up there. Oh no. There we go. We'll do a little bit of pallet storage. Not much. I think it was 2 of these. And then starting from that far wall, I'm going to put in as many as I can fit. Might be 3, might be 4. And you see they let you put them in really close to each other. So I've got these 4 all crammed in. Everything's crammed in here. I mean, I've got everything. I have storage, pallet storage, more pallet storage, a place to sleep, a place for my armor, I can even, if I want to make the healing smoothies, I have a place for that. I've got water storage, jerky racks, make rope, make armor, collect stuff to make healing smoothies, and the one last thing that I really need in here is actual water production. Now, depending on how often you plan on playing multiplayer, or if you just say, I don't really feel like bringing that many weed stems, you don't have to make 3, make 2. But that is everything that's in my bases, all crammed into a little bitty building. But it's laid out in a way that, 1, you can go clean through it without, having a bump in anything. 2, everything's easily accessible. And including your storage because you went overhead. Now, we just, like I said, we got to throw in the lights. Got to have lights. Now, like I said, these buildings are small enough that lights on one side might be enough for you. For some they are, for some they aren't. I'm stuck in the thing again. So that is one thing to be careful of. I don't know if that's just because it's creative or what, but if you do get stuck, that would be a problem. I don't think I've ever gotten stuck in the real game, but I've never really tried either. And then for this one, I'm just going to delete that out of the way real quick. I just put a little light behind it. There. So everything that's in those 2 bigger buildings and all of my large bases, such as the aircraft carrier you see right there, my Rockwall base, which is built up there, Pagoda base supposed to be built on a different creative save. Let me get rid of that. But everything is in here. Everything fits this nice little outpost. Depending on how much storage you want, you could even maybe shrink it by moving some other stuff up top. Because you can put those up here and still access them and get everything off of them. So if you went with less storage, you might be able to shrink another section off of this building and still get everything crammed in here the way the way it lays out and works well for you. The stairs are here just so I don't have to worry about the grass floor on the stone. So you could still use, instead of using grass floors for your actual base, you could come in with foundations, pebblet or clay, doesn't matter. And that would be how you could lay this out. Have a nice pebblet foundation, and then grass, or even if you have weed stems nearby, you just want to do weed stems like this and make it look nice. It's up to you. But that is a couple of different designs for some very small minimalistic bases, or even if you want to call them outposts. If you guys do want to see me actually build my logo on a video on building my logo, drop that comment in the section below. I didn't do it because it's it's my logo. I didn't think anybody would want my logo in their game, but I do remember, I think I had a comment that somebody did want to see more minimalistic style. So you can see this is still way spacious compared to that one back there, because it still have all this extra space up here, extra space at the end. So this is going like super small, which is the 2x8, and having everything crammed into it. So if you guys like this content, would like to see more like it, hit that like and subscribe button. I do stream on my YouTube 5 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, typically starting between 3:30 and 4 p.m. Mountain Time. You stop by stream, say hi, ask me questions. I can answer what I can, or if you just want me to do a quick little tour live on stream of what I've got going on, I have no problem doing that. But until the next video, or if you stop by the next stream, you guys all have a good one.